Hello everybody and welcome back to my trauma. I know we don't stand Jeffrey right now, but I don't know how else to start this video. It's a hard one for me. Obviously. You can probably read by the title. This is me telling my mom that I had DeRealization in a way, although I didn't even know what that was at this time. But I'm going to talk about it. So before I do that, I'm going to put on some music. I wrote this music, by the way. I'm using my music because obviously I can't afford anyone else's music, so I'm just gonna put it in there, and I realize it's really cringy to use my own music, but I don't care because I'm going with it, so here we go. If you want to listen to any of these songs, by the way, they're all on my channel in my original songs. So, yeah. Okay. So this story all started all the way back when I was 16, I believe. I was a really depressed kid. I dropped out of high school when... This is a bit loud. I dropped out of high school. Hello, kitty. For the third time, I dropped out of high school when I was... it was my sophomore year of high school. I just couldn't wake up. I literally would go to bed at like 10 o'clock at night, and I wouldn't wake up until 6 o'clock the next day. So I had really, and I couldn't wake up. Like, my mom would come in and try to wake me up, and I just wouldn't wake up. So, like, what do you do in that case? At this point, everything was wrong with me. I had extreme depression. None of it was diagnosed, obviously. This was my first time ever really telling my mom that I felt like something was wrong with me. So cute. Sorry, my cat's over there. I was very depressed. I was sleeping all day. I wasn't eating. I was... Oh my god. Trigger warning all over this bitch, obviously. That's probably obvious, but you know, I was self-harming at the time and using substances to cope. But it was at this point in my life where, let's just say, I had major traumas that happened when I was between the ages of like 13 to 15. So when I was 16, I was extremely derealized, and I couldn't think right. So if you experience derealization or depersonalization, they kind of go hand in hand. It basically, to me, feels like you're drunk all the time. Hi, cutie. And that's what it felt like to me. It felt like I was constantly drunk, even if I wasn't. I felt like I was in a gray haze, and I couldn't feel any emotion, whether that was happiness or sadness or whatever. Like, it could have been the best day of my life. Like, I could have been at Vans Warped Tour, which was the best day ever, all the time. But I would still be having the worst day. Or just, not even the worst day, just... My favorite artist, her name is Dodie Clark, has a very good reference to this. She explains it like this. Imagine you're sitting at a table with all of your friends, and you guys are all so hungry and so famished, and you've had a really long day, and they bring the food, and it smells delicious, and it looks great, and everyone's really excited to eat it. And then you bite into your hamburger, and it tastes like sand. Well, that's... And also, you don't get full, and everyone else is so happy and satisfied about their meals, but you just feel nothing. So that's how I felt for probably since I was 13 up until I was 16, but it started getting progressively worse, where it would be all the time. Like, I would go months and months without feeling a single human emotion, and then I would maybe have one night out of like 3 months where I'd feel something, whether that was extreme depression and sadness, or a little tiny second of happiness, or just inspired, or whatever it may be. Anyway, some backstory. So I remember it was nighttime, and my mom was in the kitchen. I don't know where my father was. By the way, I'm raised by my grandparents, and I call them my mom and dad because they raised me from a very young age, so that's my mom and dad. I feel like I'm always explaining that. But my dad wasn't around. I don't know if he was at work, like he was in the house, but if he was at work or what was going on, but he wasn't there. Both of my older siblings, one of them was in jail at this time, and my sister had moved out, I believe, at this point. Or I guess my mom kicked her out. That's a story for another day. Anyway, oh my god. I remember, I don't know what led me up to going to talk to my mom, but I'm guessing at that point it had to have been really bad for me to talk to my mom about it because, well, I'll just tell you the story and you can understand why I was hesitant. I was crying. I remember I was bawling my eyes out. I think I probably had just hurt myself and I just couldn't, like, be somewhere. And she looked at me and she told me, "What do you mean? You're crazy?" Like, she asked me if I needed to go to a mental hospital and said that I was really pathetic and that I was worthless and I couldn't do anything right. And my family saying that you were depressed or literally anything wrong with you immediately, "You're crazy, you're insane, you need to go to the mental hospital. Oh, so you're crazy now? Oh, so you're this, that, and whatever." And she was very angry at me, and I told her that I was crazy and that I needed to go to the mental hospital, and she asked me what was wrong, what was happening, and I explained to her that I felt like I was drunk all the time and that I felt like I was dreaming all the time and I didn't know what was real. And I remember, excuse me, I remember the look she gave me, just like complete disgust and disappointment in me. And I remember begging her for me to go to a therapist or something, and she literally told me that no daughter of hers was going to be crazy or labeled as crazy and that I better just figure it out. And then I remember her looking at me and telling me that she basically told me that she got sad too and that she just moved through it, and that if I was feeling sad, I just had to move through it like she did when she was sad. And I explained to her that I wasn't sad, that wasn't the issue, but she couldn't understand. Till this day, she thinks anxiety is like nervousness, like being agitated with something. So that's just how she is. That day, I did not get help or go to a hospital. It got worse. There were suicide attempts, and even then, I was not helped. In fact, I didn't get medical help for this until I went in for, my hip was hurting me because I took a dance class when I was in school, and my hip was hurting me because of that, and I was underweight, so they just kept me and told my mom that I hadn't been eating, and that's a whole nother story for another day. But I just want you guys to know that you're not crazy for being depressed or anxious or derealized or manic or any of those things. You are not crazy, and it's not okay for somebody to say something like that about mental health. And my grandma's 75 and she will always be the way that she is, but even if you live in a house where it is not accepted and you can't get help, know that it does get better. And if you were like me and begged for help, pleaded for help, and still got rejected, there are other resources. Talk to a counselor, talk to someone at school, and I promise you, you will get that help that you need. And it is negligent of your parents to deny you those opportunities. I think that's all I have time for in this video. I have a lot more stories about my very ignorant grandma if you guys want to know about that. So I'm going to put 2 options up. I will probably talk about them both. But let me know which one you'd rather hear, because I love your opinions. The first one is telling my mom that I was pansexual. That one was, man. The other one would be telling my mother about, oh God, there's so many. Honestly, soon I kind of just want to have a sit down with her and film it, because it's very interesting to see how people from that generation view things. For instance, crazy. I've been talking to my mom, or my grandma, about the Black Lives Matter movement, and first of all, she watches the news every single night. She didn't even know that this was because of George Floyd. Also, another crazy fact is it's insane. Like, I mentioned to her that she basically, this can sound so bad, and it is, and I can't make excuses for her, but I do kind of want to let you know how she is mentally. She told me that she thinks, which is crazy because keep in mind we're Mexican, she told me that black people should go back to their own country. And I told her that we brought him here as slaves in boats, and it's our fault that they're here in the first place. And she looked at me and said, I don't believe that. That's not true. What? I'm sorry, but like, there's so much to get into with that. I'm constantly trying to open her mind and talk to her about different things, and sometimes it's like she understands and she knows and she's capable, but other times it's like she's reverted all the way back to that, like, step 1, and I don't understand her at all, but that's how it is. My option for that, honestly, is I'm going to start showing her some, like, historically correct films, and hopefully she can start to understand the world. Even when it comes down to America, she told me straight to my face, she says that rioting is un-American. And I asked her if she knew how America started, and she said, no, not really. And I said, we were part of England, and we started a revolution. We were the rioters. That's how we are America. So riots will always be an American act, and it's crazy to me how she can think that way. I don't know how this got to this, but yeah. Never mind. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. You are perfect just the way you are. You are worthy, you are enough, and you are loved. Even if it doesn't feel like that right now, the universe always gives you the love it needs when you need it. And if you are struggling with anything mentally, get help, because the other side of it is so beautiful, and I promise you, it does get better. And things like depression and derealization and depersonalization and all of those things will always be a part of you. But that's not a bad thing. We all have things we have to work through and live with, and I think everybody can. And I really believe in you and your progress. Comment down below. Let me know how your story went of telling your parents how your derealization is, or depression, or anxiety, or literally whatever you have. If you guys have ever had to talk to your parents about that, let me know how that went for you in the comments below. And I will see you guys next week. I have really good videos coming up, so if you want to subscribe, you can, but if not, I totally understand. I want to earn your subscription. I don't want you to just subscribe because I tell you to. So watch a few of my videos, and if you like me, then you like me, and cool. But I have a hair video coming up. I'm kind of in the process of dyeing my hair red. That one should be up soon, and I also have a video coming out about, I'm waking up every day at 5 a.m. Seeing how that works, because I normally don't wake up until like 12. So subscribe for that if you want to, if you don't. Anyway, alright, I love you guys. Have a great week.